The Valley Green Vegan Podcast for Born Again Eaters is brought to you by Valley Green Naturals, a natural ingredient manufacturing company producing head-to-toe personal care products for clean living. Stay tuned to the end of this podcast for a special offer from Valley Green Naturals just for our listeners. Hello and welcome, fellow Born Again Eaters. I'm Cindy, coming to you from my little office studio located in Virginia's beautiful Blue Ridge, Piedmont. I call myself a Born Again Eater because I recently discovered all the magical benefits of living on a 100% whole food plant-based diet. So even though I transitioned only 6 months ago, it was January of 2023, literally overnight, I did it in hopes of finding relief from inflammation in my body that was being caused by cancer treatments. But along the way, I found so much more to benefit my overall health. I'm thinking that maybe some of you have been eating vegan for many years, so this is sort of old hat for you. But I still think of all of us as being born again eaters because we've all departed from that path of the typical U.S. Western diet. And we're now walking a greener path of health and well-being, not only for ourselves, but for our planet too. So whether you're newly transitioned or you've been vegan for years, or you're just interested in transitioning to a plant-based diet, this is the podcast for you. So normally I'm joined by my daughter, Amberly, who is a former chef. She lives in Australia. She's been vegan for a long, long time, many years. And right now she's on vacation for a bit. So I am holding down the fort. And I kind of like these solo podcasts now and then because it gives me a chance to share a little of what I've learned from kind of taking a deep dive into the nutritional benefits of plant-based eating. I'm kind of nerdy that way. So like when I go on some sort of what I call adventure, which is this change in lifestyle that I've made, I really do like to study everything that I possibly can about it and do it in the very best way that I can. And I also host another podcast. It's for cancer patients, in which I've shared my own experiences from diagnostics to surgeries and treatments. And I have heard from a lot of the folks who are listeners that it's been super helpful as a source of information. So I hope that with this podcast, I can kind of do the same thing for others when it comes to the multiple benefits of living a plant-based lifestyle. I mean, truly, I have taken a real deep dive into educating myself on nutrition, and I swear, I think I'm getting better nutrition now on a plant-based diet than I ever have had in my life when I was an omnivore. Plus, I've dropped all the baddies, like butter, eggs, cream, milk, cheeses, which I loved, and meats. And I am a little bit ashamed to say that I used to pride myself on my old world style of cooking with lots of butter, creams, saturated fats. I was a total cheeseaholic, and I just laugh about it now and say, I used to put that beep on everything. Like I put cheese on everything. And unfortunately, I didn't realize at the time, or, maybe I just didn't want to care, that I was causing some serious detriment to my overall health and the health of my family. So after turning 60, which was last year, I did know in the back of my mind that I needed to make some serious changes. Unfortunately, or maybe in my case, it was actually fortunately for me, I got to a point of desperation when I started to get reactive arthritis so bad from my cancer treatments. I mean, it was terrible. I was popping ibuprofen like candy every 4 hours, every single day, and I was miserable. I knew that I needed to find a more holistic way to reduce the inflammation that was causing this debilitating joint pain, and I really started looking at making dietary changes. I didn't implement them right away. I just considered them for a while, which was sort of typical for me when it came to changing my diet. But then one night I was watching Netflix and this documentary came on called What the Health. And some of you may be familiar with it. And I gotta say, I was captivated. So I found a few more documentaries: Forks Over Knives, Eating You Alive, Plant Pure Nation, Game Changers. I watched everything that I could find. And I read Dr. Michael Greger's book, How Not to Die. So you've heard me mention this book before on previous podcasts. It is awesomely excellent. He goes through every system in the body, He talks about reversing damage that you've done, through years of bad eating and how to, go forward. He has another book that's a sister book called How Not to Diet. He's got the How Not to Diet cookbook. So cannot recommend that book enough. It's excellent. So one evening, after finishing a huge dinner of filet mignon with a baked potato soaked with butter and sour cream, I told my husband, I'm done. And he was like, what? And I said, I am done eating things that are killing me. I'm turning vegan as of tomorrow morning. And he was like, okay, great. I'll do it with you. So the next morning when we got up, I had to skip my coffee because I can't drink coffee without creamer in it. So we went to the refrigerator and the pantry. We cleaned out every type of food that was not plant-based. We got rid of everything. We took it all to the food bank and we donated it. And then we made a 40-minute drive to Wegmans, which is a store where we knew we could buy lots of good vegan-friendly choices. And we bought about $400 worth of food. Now, suffice it to say that we really didn't know better at first. We bought, the good green leafy stuff and lots of fruits and vegetables, but we also bought the processed vegan cheeses, the vegan sandwich meats, the Impossible burger patties, all that processed stuff. And we really don't eat those things anymore, but I will admit they filled a niche during that first couple of weeks of transitioning. So they do serve a purpose for sure for people who are coming off of the crazy diet that I used to be on and, switching overnight to vegan. So here's a little more background on my health that I haven't really shared much about on previous episodes. In addition to having fought bladder cancer for the past 6 years, I was also overweight with a BMI of 28.4. So that's the high end of the overweight category right before you hit the obese stage. Now, I'm really tall at 5'9", and so it's a little easier for people my height to kind of hide their weight, but I was at a very unhealthy weight. I had also been taking medicine for high blood pressure for many years. Hypertension ran in my family, so I just assumed that it was something I was going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. And to make matters worse, the last time my cholesterol was checked a couple of years ago, it was a whopping 220. I didn't tell anyone that at the time because I didn't want to hear from my family and friends, oh my God, you need to do something about that. So yet, even though I knew that, I still had not made any changes to my diet to bring that down. So after watching those documentaries and getting a full understanding of what high cholesterol does to one's arteries, I was really kind of scared to think about what kind of blockages I had already been building in my body over time from just eating a very poor and unhealthy diet. The good news that I gleaned from those shows that I watched and everything that I read was that these problems can be reversed at virtually any age. It was never too late to start. And that was a great motivator, as great a motivator as reducing the joint pain that I had from the cancer treatments. So here's what happened on day 5 of my first week on a solely plant-based diet. I woke up and got out of bed without any pain. I am serious, no pain. And that was an absolute miracle for me. I even asked my husband if he thought maybe it was psychosomatic. I just didn't feel the pain because I had convinced myself it was gone. But that really seemed like a reach. I mean, there was no wishing away that kind of pain that I had suffered for so many months. So that was the first thing I noticed. And then as days passed, I felt better and better. Then at the end of week 2, I took my blood pressure. Now, this was back when I was still on medication. So before turning to a vegan diet, on a good day with meds, my blood pressure was still elevated, usually with a systolic number being, like high 120s or low 130s. And I had kind of come to accept that as the norm for myself. That morning, I took my blood pressure that second week after transition. It was 117/70. I was like, what? I took it again several times throughout the day and it remained low. And that is crazy. I mean, I thought that's nuts. It's never been that low, but there it was. So when I saw that, I started doing some research on foods and beverages that help to lower blood pressure naturally. My meds were about to run out in the following week, and I really wanted to find a natural means to get my blood pressure normal and keep it normal. So there were a few things I learned that seemed really simple to incorporate into my diet and lifestyle. The first was exercise. Exercise. So that might cause eye rolls because we all know exercise is good for you. And I'll be honest, I have been an active person and I used to play a lot of sports when I was younger, but over time I had become really sedentary, with the exception of playing year-round golf, a couple times every week, which isn't that much exercise. I mean, you get maybe a couple miles of walking in, but that's only 2 times a week. So my husband and I committed to taking a 20-minute walk only 2 times per week. Okay, just a 20-minute walk up the road. I have continued playing golf, usually twice a week, sometimes 3 if I can fit it in, and that's it. Now, I know doctors recommend way more activity than this, but honestly, this tiny, tiny change I made with 2 walks down my road a couple times a week has made a huge difference in helping to lower my blood pressure and keep it there. First, there was the walking I added. Then I read about drinking hibiscus tea. I dug deep for more info on this because I thought, all right, I can substitute tea every morning for the coffee I've been missing because I don't use creamer anymore. And if you want to know more about the benefits of drinking hibiscus tea to lower blood pressure, check out nutritionfacts.org and search hibiscus. I'll actually leave a link in the show description below. Dr. Greger has some really great and documented information on this topic. And for the last 6 months, I've been drinking 1 cup every morning when I get up, and sometimes an extra juice-sized glass of cold tea with my lunch if I happen to have a pitcher of iced tea made in the fridge. Now, let me just say, this stuff is nothing short of amazing. My blood pressure is not only normal now, without meds, it's actually excellent. I was just at my doctor's office yesterday, and, to get a low reading in your doctor's office, that can be kind of tough, especially if you've had to drive in DC, Northern Virginia traffic to get there like I did. She took my blood pressure and it was 117/70. And even the nurse said, wow. And remember that my blood pressure was higher than this even when I was on meds. So on a good day, my blood pressure was probably 127/80 when I was on meds. And that was perfectly acceptable to my then doctor at the time. She's not my doctor anymore. But that is where my blood pressure was on medication. Without medication, drinking hibiscus tea, taking a couple of walks down the road, my blood pressure is sitting at 117/70 today. Okay, so there are a couple of other things that I've learned about keeping your blood pressure low, because this is really important to me now. Not having to be on meds is huge. And there are some other items that I do try to add to my diet for increased potassium, which also helps to keep blood pressure in check. Now, these are not recommended for folks with kidney issues, kidney disease, dialysis, anything like that, who may already have higher levels of potassium in their system. But if your kidneys are healthy and you'd like to add more potassium to your diet, always check with your doctor first. But I try to get a teaspoon of ground flaxseed every day, sometimes in my yogurt, other times I put it on my granola. Flax seeds are really high in omega-3s, which help to relax artery walls and reduce inflammation. So there's the inflammation thing again. So you can easily add flax seeds to your smoothies as well. I mean, I don't really drink smoothies all that much. So for me, it's more handy to throw them in my yogurt or on my granola. The thing is, just make sure that you buy ground flaxseed, not the whole ones. Because from what I've learned, the whole seeds don't really get absorbed very well and they go kind of right through you. So another few options for increasing potassium would include bananas, sweet potatoes, which I love. I'm in love with sweet potatoes, cooked spinach, mangoes, and tomatoes. And then there are beets. Beets and beet juice are another really good source, but I am so not a fan of beets. I know it's one of those food items that I think you either love it or you hate it, and I'm in the latter group. And I have friends say to me, "Oh my God, you don't like beets?" I can hardly even think about them, to be honest. But anyway, there are other foods that will raise potassium and lower blood pressure naturally, so I recommend doing some searching on nutritionfacts.org. There are also some really good podcasts out by PCRM, the Physicians Committee on Responsible Medicine. Their podcast with Chuck Carroll is called The Exam Room. I listen to it every single week. It is so good. It's available on all the major podcast platforms. It is really well done. It's excellent for improving your nutrition and health knowledge. I think the way they put it on there is raising your health IQ. And they've got some really interesting guests, and it's always informational. So the one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, which turned out to be a totally added and unexpected bonus to all of this, is that in 6 months of plant-based eating, I've lost 19 pounds. That wasn't even my goal when I left the omnivore world. I just really wanted to feel better. But the weight has come off slowly and in a very healthy way. I am never hungry because I eat as much fiber as I can get. And my metabolism is working better now at age 60 than it did when I was 45. So my BMI is now at 25.5, and I've got 1 point to go to bring it into the quote healthy weight category. But I don't think I'm going to stop there. I think I'd like to drop another 15 pounds or so to bring my BMI into the middle of that healthy weight category. I think it's a good goal. And it's honestly taking very little effort on my part to see the pounds just kind of falling off, every week or two. So in the last couple of weeks, I've had amazing compliments from friends who haven't seen me for a while. And, women are always worried about saying, "Oh, have you lost weight?" because they think it's an insult. It's not an insult to me. Say it all you want. But they're saying things like, "Oh my God, Cindy, you just look fantastic. You really look great." And you know what? I feel great too. And I think it comes through in my attitude as well because I'm feeling so good. So there you have it. Tiny, tiny changes equal massive benefits. For me, what started as a simple mission to get through cancer treatments without pain turned into so much more. Healthy weight loss, healthy blood pressure, and likely many more revolutions around the sun in my future. Oh yeah, and the joint pain, gone. So you can insert the little smile emojis right here because that's what I'm doing. I am really happy to be able to share all of this good news with you. It's really why Amberly and I started this podcast and recipe blog. I guess you could say we're charting a course as born-again eaters, and we really hope to spread our experiences and what we've learned far and wide to the masses. So if you enjoyed this podcast, please do subscribe and give us a thumbs up and leave a review. That really does help us, and it helps the algorithms push us to the top in search engines to allow other people to find us. And if you haven't subscribed to our vegan foodie and recipe blog, you can do that really easily by going to valleygreenvegan.com and entering your email in the little sign up line that you'll see. We don't ever sell or share your email address. I really hate that when companies do that. So your info is safe with us, and you'll get an email in real time whenever we add a new recipe or posts to the blog. The recipe blog is coming along, by the way. I think we have over 30 recipes on there now, with hundreds more to come. That's the plan. So check it out. Mine are more, quick and easy kind of common meals. Amberly is a former chef, as I mentioned, and so hers are a little more fine dining style, but you can do both with vegan eating. Also, we'd really love to hear from you. If you have tried any of the recipes, there is a place under each recipe where you can leave comments, so please do. And that is all the time we have for today. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I'm Cindy, wishing you peace and wellness, and we'll see you again soon. Hey guys, just a little little postscript I wanted to mention. Many of us who are looking to live a clean and natural lifestyle are always on the lookout to avoid toxins in our daily lives. Even before I was diagnosed for cancer in 2017, I always tried to eat a healthy diet of organic foods and use clean ingredient products, cleaning materials, things like that. I was so into the natural and organic lifestyle that I actually started a company that produces clean ingredient body care products. That was 13 years ago, and my company, Valley Green Naturals, is still going really strong today. So what started as a soap making hobby in my farmhouse kitchen all those years ago has actually grown into a fairly good sized company, and we have over 30 products, and we make everything from soaps to facial care to deodorants that are all natural, body lotions and bug repellents even. Everything is made with plant-derived natural ingredients. So if you're looking to reduce the toxins in your personal care products, I just thought I would mention valleygreennaturals.com. And for anyone listening to this podcast, you can use promo code HEALTHY at checkout to receive a 15% discount off your first order. So that's valleygreennaturals with an S.com, or you can simply click the link in the episode description below.